I want to know how the hell people in Canada are even living. I generally consider myself a positive person. I'm like resourceful, but some stuff happened around the property, and like, well, I know I'll never truly be homeless. Like, I have family to live with, and you know, like, I have options. Like, I'm luckier than a lot of other people, but how the hell is anyone existing in Canada? Like, I feel trapped. And like I just got a good job. I started in September, but even with that job, it pays less than 40 grand a year. And it's a job that requires like education, and even on that job, like, I still can't do shit. I can't buy anything. I can't afford the rent these days. Like, I'm just feeling so much despair. And I know I'm normally like really, really positive, but I'm just like, how is everyone else, and are you okay? Because the answer is probably no. And I know I'm lucky. I don't have kids. I have like good family that will support me, but I feel like I can't stay here, but I can't move anywhere else, because anywhere else I move to, I'm gonna be charging, like, the landlords are just gonna charge me like $2,500 a month in rent. Like, unless I move into the middle of literally nowhere where there are zero jobs. And I'm just feeling really overwhelmed. And like, I don't know. There's a part of me that just wants to say F it and just get a whole bunch of credit cards and just travel and just like get out of Canada, because like I know it's bad everywhere. I really do. But I don't know. I just, at 33 years old, like, I was really hoping that I could at the very least afford, you know, a small house. I don't want 3,100 square feet bullshit. I just want something small, 500 square feet, even less. And yet, it's so fucking expensive. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I watched a documentary online on YouTube about how the blacks are poor, and this documentary was based on the livelihoods in the slums in Africa, from Kibera in Kenya to Soweto in South Africa and other regions across the black continent. So this has sparked different conversations online, with the blacks feeling that this is a narrative created by the colonialists. So in this today's video, I'm also exposing how the whites also cry about the deep-rooted poverty in the areas of America and even other regions of Europe. So this shows that the narrative or the documentaries being created about the poverty situations in Africa is meant to give the colonialists power over Africans or the blacks. This is meant to smear them the picture that they are lesser in terms of economic empowerment as compared to the white men. So let's watch this video and comment in the end.
I can't function anymore. I don't understand how I make $34 an hour and I can't function. I can't function. I can't pay my bills. I can't even literally keep gas in my car to get to work 3 days a week. I buy a loaf of rye bread, and I work really hard to keep that one loaf of rye bread lasting me the whole week. And I eat peanut butter. So I'll eat peanut butter toast whenever I'm hungry. And it's been fine. It's been working just fine. I'm good with that. That's fine. But last week, I guess I was a little extra hungry a couple days, so I had toast in the morning and toast in the evening, which that's not in my budget. So I ran out of bread on like the Thursday, or even the Friday, I don't know. Either way, at 47, I had to see if my mother could buy me a loaf of bread so that I could eat for the weekend before my daughter got home. I don't understand why things are so hard right now. I apparently make too much money to receive any financial benefits or help of any kind.
So a lot of
You want to talk about white privilege? I was born dirt poor. Roaches in our food, mattresses on the floor, eviction notices taped to the doors, kind of poor. My parents, their side hustle was beating me and my siblings bloody. I missed more meals than I can count. When we did eat, it was ramen, canned foods, or whatever we could steal from the gas station. There were 8 of us kids. Don't come at me like I grew up in some quiet backwoods town either. We weren't hearing deer rifles, we were hearing 9mm and Glocks on a nightly basis. Not because we were hunting, because we were dodging stray bullets in the inner city. I had a baby as a teenager, thought maybe I could break the cycle, went to college, flunked out quick. Life was swinging before I even had a chance to plant my feet. Then the military came knocking, promised me structure, a future, and a way out. What I got? Another flavor of hell. Straight out of basic, they shipped me to Afghanistan. 19 years old, couldn't buy a beer back home, but I could carry a rifle, kick indoors, and watch friends die in pieces. I came home to a wife who had cheated on me while I deployed, ended in divorce, missed my baby's first steps, first words, first everything. I got the title Dad, but only for 2 days every other week when the courts allowed me. So I drank, I numbed it out, I drowned it in alcohol and women, hopped from job to job, security, government contracts, even worked with the feds for a minute, but it all fell apart. I ended up homeless, ashamed, alone, and broken. Now, I've been sober for 4 years, been through more therapy than most folks can stomach, read hundreds of books, and here's what I figured out. As bad as I have had it, if I was black, I probably wouldn't have survived it. That ain't an opinion, that's truth. Black Americans make up 13% of the population, but 38% of the prison population. 1 in 3 black boys born today, they're expected to end up behind bars. That ain't by accident, that is policy. That's centuries of systemic racism passed off as justice. The 13th Amendment did not abolish slavery, it rebranded it. It says slavery is legal as punishment for a crime. That's why we got corporations making billions off of prison labor while folks inside earn cents an hour if they're lucky. That clause was written to target black Americans, and it's still doing exactly that. Now I run an organization called West Virginia Fights Back. We feed people, we take care of people. No strings, no red tape, no begging for scraps. We take care of our own because the government won't. My dream? A Fights Back chapter in every damn state. Abolish the prison industrial complex. Burn the cage down. Build something real in its place. Fred Hampton said, you can jail a revolutionary, but you cannot jail the revolution. This is not about shame. This is about responsibility. If you've had the privilege of not being targeted by the system, you've got the duty to help tear it down. I grew up considered poor white trash just like many other white folks in this country, sometimes eating out of dumpsters and living off of ramen noodles and a 5-finger discount. My family went through evictions and I moved more times than I can count before the time I was 18. I joined the military out of high school to keep from staying poor white trash. Although I spent a decade in the military, I'm back to being considered poor white trash. I have Section 8 and food stamps. Sometimes I do have to hit a food pantry. Sometimes I don't have gas. I can't afford an attorney to fight for my child. I do struggle, but I don't struggle because I'm black. I struggle because I'm in poverty. If I was black, I would have to deal with poverty plus racism. Sure, privilege is probably not the right word to be using whenever it comes to white privilege, because being treated like a human is not a privilege, it's a right. But when you're being treated like you're human, to those who are being treated like they're less than human, It looks a lot like privilege. Learn up.
Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked a white person in the eye, even if they're like a big mental health person? You just look deep down and you're like, brother, you are not happy at all. And truly, it breaks my heart. But one reason, I think, one of the main reasons that a lot of white people, a lot of us are really unhappy and miserable is because we lack internal congruence. Now, congruence is a concept we learned early in grad school to help people heal. And congruence is basically internal alignment. Values and actions are on the same page, right? Like, we accept every part of ourselves. We feel peace, security in who we are, congruence. And no matter how hard you try, you can never find internal congruence if you're not congruent with the world around you. If you're not understanding what's real and seeing reality and affirming what's true. So like white people who deny patriarchy and capitalism's negative effect and oppression of the world and genocide that's happening around the world, like that's incongruent with reality. That is going to have an effect on us internally. Because to deny what's happening in real time, we have to deny certain parts of us, certain emotions, certain thoughts that come up. And the more we run for that, the more incongruent and separate we feel, the more dissonance that comes, the more miserable we are. And a lot of times we're not actually dealing with our own pain and our own reality because we're all suffering under capitalism and white supremacy. Like, it affects us different ways in intersectionality, but like it affects us white people too. You don't think a stormtrooper in the fucking Star Wars movies hates his life? You don't think he hates being bossed around all the time? You don't think poor white people living in the empire, like in a city walls, like in a Game of Thrones, like you don't think that they're miserable under it, even though they're not miserable the most? To be congruent inside, to not be miserable anymore, it takes accepting the realities of the world, seeing how those toxic systems affect us, and then moving to actually be congruent. Because deep down, humanity has goodness at its center. So yeah, white people, we're miserable because we're not congruent, because we're denying the realities of the world, and thus denying ourselves.
I'm going to use this comment as an opportunity to talk about how, yes, racism and classism are deeply linked. In fact, all hierarchical structures are deeply linked in our society. They all play into each other, they all affect each other, but this tie is particularly strong because racism is used to get poor white people to vote against their own best interests all the time. So yes, there are poor white people who get hurt when pretty much any racist policy is enacted. That doesn't mean the policy itself was not racist, and that doesn't mean that it can't also be classist. They usually are. The fundamental problem is hierarchies of all types. So no, you can't really argue that like, well, that's classism, not racism, because the answer is it's both, and it's usually always both. And then some, depending on what exact policy or social construct you're talking about there.
As I always say, is that the narrative is being built by the white man to continue with the efforts of grip or holding grip the black man and making them the slaves as they always want them to be, because they never see a black man as being meaningful in the development of the whole society of the world. This is why slavery was brought across. Slavery was meant to infringe the rights of the black man. Then after slavery, it went down to now neocolonialism, where even the leaders are being chosen for the black men. And this neocolonialism is deeply choreographed to ensure that the resources, the vast resources that are in Africa, that is gold in Congo and other oil in Libya and other valuable resources that are mostly available in Africa, are exploited freely without any barrier from Africans. So this is a move that has always been there, and if a leader comes strong to castigate this, then the life of such a leader would be so much in danger. Take for example how the Libyan president Muammar Gaddafi was eliminated. It was because of the stand he had, the stance he brought about the unity of Africans, currency or rather single currency and borderless society. These were against the the wishes of the white man. So he had to be smeared, or rather, uh, propaganda campaigns were instigated to picture him as a dictator, someone who doesn't value human rights. So this created a room for him to be eliminated. Again, there has emerged another leader in Burkina Faso, that is Abraham Traore, who has also been bold. But if you look at the countless efforts to assassinate him, then you will be worried about what plan do the white man have for the blacks. Julius Malema in South Africa is also bold enough to face the white wrath on Africans, though there have been efforts to derail his campaigns and ensure that he doesn't rise to power due to the fear that he would enlighten the blacks about how the white man is really not happy about their progress. So it is a big plan by the white man, and that is why the blacks have been meant, or have been shown to be poor in most of the documentaries. Yet whites also languish in poverty, as proven by this video. So I want to see what you feel about this, because over time blacks have always been seen as poor, but these are white men crying about how they face hardships in meeting their daily bread, or rather daily livelihoods. So tell us what you feel about this, and if you're watching us for the first time, do not forget to make a subscription, because that is how we have a continuous conversation on issues that are touching on the black race and racism in large. Thank you, and may God bless you.